Welcome to Real Conversations with Adeni Kerimoloye. With me this afternoon is a wonderful woman of God who experienced sexual abuse from the age of 7 and for 18 years later. She's an accomplished educationist in the United Kingdom. She's worked with children for a couple of years, many years, and she's going to be talking to us about her experience, the way she has been sexually abused as a child and even as adult. So I encourage you to come with us, learn during this conversation, and the lessons that we take away from these conversations today, let's use it to protect our children. Thank you. So we have this afternoon with us. She's going to be using a pseudonym as Delightful. So first, Delightful, I want to thank you very much for agreeing to speak with me this afternoon. And I know that both of us, we both agree that this conversation is important to help parents protect their children so that other children will not go through the kind of pain and agony that you have experienced these many years. You are into your 50s now and you still feel the pain. But I know that the Lord who has started the good work of healing in you, he will complete it in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
So my first question to you today, Delightful, is what age were you when you were first sexually abused, and what were the circumstances?
Yeah, I was 7 years old, and this is by the helper in the house. We call them houseboy, and
Okay.
I was in the bathroom when all this thing happened. It was my time to have my bath in the evening, so he came to the bathroom. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I just want to take you back to how things were at your home at that time. You were only 7, and being a
Yeah.
girl, was it okay with your parents that the house help, who was male, bathed you?
I was surprised that evening because I normally go to the bathroom myself and have my bath, so I don't need anybody to bath me. But because of the where we were raised with the helpers in the house, whatever they said, whatever their decision or whatever instruction they give us, we have to follow. So I was in the bathroom and it came in that they said, "Oh, by the way, your parents said you should bath me that night." I was thinking, okay. So I didn't say anything. So he came to the bathroom. Yeah.
And what exactly did it do to you?
So going back, remember that night, I
Mm-hmm.
was in the bathroom. Then I was inside the bath. Then he came in, and he said, and then start putting his hand in my vagina. That my mom's your mom told me to bath you, and he started touching me. Then I didn't know it was bad, so I didn't know. I thought it was okay. So since I thought, okay, maybe he need to bath me that way. So and after he touched me, and and he said to me that, oh, I should not tell anybody. So that this is a secret between us. So I should not say it to anybody. If I tell anybody, I'll be in trouble. So
Okay.
that was
So
when
when
I
he
knew, okay.
first, sorry to interrupt you. So when he first started, you thought it was just normal
Yeah, I thought it was normal. I thought, okay, maybe
until
that's the way.
okay,
Way
until he told you not to tell anybody,
Yes, yeah, I
and you
knew.
didn't
Yeah,
tell anybody.
I didn't tell anybody.
Okay. So that was when you were 7. When did the second abuse happen?
So I came into the my room. So and I one night he came in and I felt his presence because I felt his breath on me. I was thinking,
Okay.
then he brought his penis out, so he started putting on top of my vagina. So and it was hurting me at the time, and I told him that I was feeling threatening me that I should close my eyes. Yeah,
And at this time, you were still 7.
yeah, still 7. Yeah, no, because after that night, it came the following night because my mom, my parents, and my father is gone away because my father is a solicitor, so he normally go on trip to for his cases. And my mother is a surgical nurse. So that night, my mom was on night duty. So, and the other helpers and my brothers were sleeping in the house. So, and my room was is the easiest because you can climb the steps straight into my room. Yeah.
Okay. So this house help, I'm sorry, delightful. So this house help continued to violate you until what
Yeah.
age?
Precisely, I can't remember, but it was a continuous delay until he left.
Until he left, and no, your parents had no idea.
Nobody has an idea. So sometimes I will go to the kitchen. He will look at me and he will bring a knife that he will show me. If you tell them, I'll use this on them. He was threatening that he will kill my parents, or he will use that when he come the night. He will use the knife on me.
So if you looked back now in retrospect, what do you think was the main reason you didn't tell your parents? Was it the fear of what this house help could have done, or was it because you were not close to your parents?
Yes. Because of the threats he gave me, and then another thing is that because of my father is a disciplinarian, and I'm not allowed to report. Even though when I report um the adults in the house, like the helpers and everything, they don't believe we are not even allowed to do whatever they. And because of I'm not even close to my father or my mother that such to tell them what happened, so I don't have that confidence even to tell them.
So you, as a 7-year-old child, delightful, you thought your parents would believe the house help over you.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for that. So you were abused by the house help that lived in the house. Again, I want to thank you for giving me the privilege of previewing the book you're writing on these experiences. I do not take it lightly. I appreciate you. When I went through the book, and I saw that not only were you abused by the help, but also by family members. Can you take us to the first time that a family member violated you as a child?
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. This is in our hometown, Akure. Because that was the first time that actually we went to Accra for. That was the first time we went there, and my father said, "Oh, we're going for Christmas," so
So
we all went.
just to make our audience understand very well. So you were born in England. You
Yeah.
were raised in England until your early years, and then you moved with your parents back to Nigeria. So this
Yes.
particular incident that you're talking about, you traveled from the city where you are based to your
Yeah.
hometown.
Yes.
So, and that
Yeah.
was your whole family.
Yes. Yeah. With the whole
Okay.
family, with my sibling, with my two brothers, and my mom, and my dad. We went to Accra, and we were living in Badon at the time, so we went to Accra for Christmas, and I was so excited because my father was talking about how we're going to see our grandmother, and how that Accra, because that we would be more excited the way we were. So I was so excited, So, and when we get there that day, and everybody, we're all having fun, because I was thinking when I got to the place, I was thinking, oh, definitely we can't stay here, we have to go and stay in a hotel. So I thought that's where we're going to be staying. So coming in the night now, and they now, after we finish praying, because the family, they do the prayer, they do night prayer. So, and they tell everybody to go to bed. And I saw my parents going to a room. So we thought, okay, where's the room for every one of us? So, and I saw my parents. Next thing, they brought a mat on the floor. I was thinking, oh, and I asked them, what's that? What is this mat for? They said all the children sleep there. I was thinking that maybe that's all the children in that house, not us. And then my father said, "Oh, we're all sleeping on the mat." And I was saying to my dad, "I don't know what mat is. I don't know how to sleep on the mat." My father said, "You will learn how to sleep there." So I kept quiet. So I'm not even allowed to. So I will start crying. My father started shouting that I should sleep there. Okay, I have to obey them. So we all slept on the mat
So your
in the
parents
night.
went into the room, your dad and your mom went
The
to the room, left
Yeah,
you and your brothers and the other children in the house.
children house, yeah, to sleep
Okay,
on
so
the
you
mat,
all
yeah,
slept on the mat. And for those
mat on.
for viewers that are not familiar with what mat is just like the yoga mat that you use for yoga, but bigger in size, right? Where people sleep rather than use mattresses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
So
delightful.
I we went, and the room that we were sleeping was in the front room, like living room, a bigger living room. So, and I was thinking, oh, this is not happening. But I couldn't close them. I couldn't sleep because number one, I was sleeping in the dark. I was sleeping on the floor, so I wasn't comfortable. It was cold. So anyway, I was just about to, and I saw my brothers. They've slept. They dozed off because they've been playing football. You know, boys so slept. So next thing I noticed was that I felt some kind of like as if something was poking my back in my
Okay.
anus. I was thinking, what's that? You know, what's going on? So when I sat up, I like, okay. And when I sat up, everybody was sleeping, so nobody was there. So I went back to sleep. I just lay down again. Next thing, and I saw was and I saw a movement, like, you know, like you know, when somebody was having sex. I was thinking,
Mhm.
and I turned back, and I saw was my cousin, and you know, and I turn so that because there's nowhere I turn because the way there was no gap between us. So I turn. If I turn this way, it was still doing. I was thinking, and before I know it, ejaculate on my on me. I'm like, this is not happening. So
And how old were you at this time?
I think I will be maybe between 8 and 9. I can't remember precisely. Yeah,
Okay, so that happened that night. So what did
yeah.
you do in the morning when everybody was
So when I woke up, you know, and he told me that he said to me that if I tell that and he said to me, you know, because that reflection come that if I tell that they will not believe me. So
okay, so
and
sorry. So when in the morning when everybody was awake,
yeah,
you thought to yourself that if you told your parents, they still wouldn't believe you.
they won't believe that. Yeah. So and I was even afraid to even to say anything anyway. Because
So
my father would think then because I don't want to sleep on the mat. So that was why.
you thought your parents would accuse you of making up the story.
The story, yeah.
Mm,
So
that's really
so I
sad.
didn't say so I didn't say anything. So and and I couldn't say anything. So the second night, and I start crying and run to my parents' room that I'm going to stay with them. Next thing, my father take his slippers to smack me. So I end up and the same thing happened. And this time I tried to sleep between my brothers. So I didn't know how that guy got in between my brothers. And the same thing happened the night again.
So how long do you recall how long you were there for?
We were only there for till Christmas, because my father after Christmas Eve, my father said we should go to Ibadan to go and celebrate Christmas
Hmm.
and to celebrate New Year. So he doesn't want us to stay there for the New Year.
Okay. So again, you put the experience as a child, you were only about 8 or 9 years old. You put that experience behind you and then you continued.
Yeah,
So what other, so that was now you've been violated by the house help. Your parents
yeah,
were there, they had no idea.
yeah,
Now you've been violated by a cousin. Your
yeah,
parents were there, they had no idea. You
yeah,
tried to talk to them, they didn't
yeah.
listen to you. And
Yes.
you couldn't confide, and there was nobody you could confide in. You didn't tell any of your brothers.
I didn't tell my brothers and I couldn't tell my friends because at the time you don't want to be telling your friend that this is happening because when you see your friends home, how their family is. So for me, I was thinking if I tell anybody or my friends, I will lose them. Nobody will talk to me. So
Oh.
I don't want to say this to anybody. Yeah,
So in
and
some way, you
and my
actually
brother.
blamed yourself.
Yeah, I do. I think because I was thinking maybe there's something in me that's make them to do
Oh,
that to me.
mm, thank you. Again, I just want to say I'm really sorry, delightful that you went through all those very horrible experiences. Um, And nobody will wish that on any child. Now, going forward, what was the other? So now we have a household, we have a family member. What other,
Mm.
at which other time were you abused in this journey?
And so this guy, when we were in I think I would say between 11 or 12, this guy now came, my cousin that he now started to live with us. So because he's smart and education, and I have issue with my education,
So I
so
just
I
want to
have
make it
work.
clear, delightful. I'm sorry to interrupt. So your cousin came to live in your house, and this cousin
Yeah,
was book smart.
yeah,
But at that time, you were struggling a little bit in school.
yeah,
Okay,
yes, I
so
was.
because this guy was smart and you are struggling somewhat,
Yeah.
what happened?
So and then he always posed in the house that he can be helpful, and my father really liked him. So, and there's one day my father was scolding me, and he said, "Oh, he can even help me to, he can help me with my studies, my
Okay.
maths especially." So, and and he asked my father to let him to become to his, because he lives in the boys' quarters, and then I should come and learn that. So, and I'll go to his house, go to his room, and before he will teach me a bit. At the end of it, he will have sex with me,
Hmm.
and that continued for
So this
every time.
relation, living with you, your parents taking care of him,
Yeah,
being helpful around the house, portrayed himself as somebody who was committed to the family,
yeah,
gained the trust of your father and your mother, and then continued to violate you in the house.
yeah,
For people that are not familiar with how homes were built in Nigeria, so when you say boys' quarters, some people may not understand what boys' quarters is.
yeah,
So the middle class home at that time in Nigeria, that would be the main house where the family would be housed. And then there would be the outhouse, a couple of rooms and bathrooms and kitchen, where usually most families would keep their help or distant relatives. So you would go to his room in the boys' quarters. Most of the time, he will violate you, and then he will
yeah,
teach you a bit of mathematics, right?
yes, it does.
And from my
And
understanding in the book, this continued for a long time.
this continued for a long time until I had a boyfriend, and that was where I had a breakup from him. Yeah,
That was when you had the courage.
yeah.
What do you
So
think gave
and
you that courage to stop it?
I don't know, because I think I was just tired, and I think I was just tired of he just grooming. I was just tired, and I was tired. I was tired of yeah, and if I don't do anything with him, he will go and report me. He will just cook a story that my parent, before I know, my father will slap me,
Oh,
or tell me to face the wall, or punish me somehow, and I don't have anything to say. I just keep quiet.
oh.
So yeah, so because I wasn't being, so I didn't have my father's coffee, my father approval. So
Mhm.
he knows that, so he plays on that.
Oh. So this relative understood the dynamics of the family. So he
Yes, he
knew
knew.
that you didn't have dad's approval and that
Yeah,
he had your dad's approval, and
yeah,
he wouldn't have the courage to tell your parents because they would believe him again over you.
yeah.
Okay, before we go to the incidents that happen in adulthood, I want to ask you respectfully and delightful, how did this affect you growing up? All these, I mean,
Um,
we're not talking about all of them because I read the book
mm,
and it was like I felt so sad. So, how did you cope? How were you able to cope as a child? Going to school, having friends. How did you cope, or how did it impact you?
yeah. At the time, I was so upset, and because I was really upset with everybody in the house, I was very stubborn. And the only time I'm so happy is when I'm out of the house. I see my friends. So I have two sides of life. When I see my friends, I pretend that everything is fine, so they don't need to know, because I always envy their own family. So when I get home, then I go back to my shell of, okay, how the life is at home. And the point, and another thing is that I was so even in school, I've been cheated, bully, because I was insecure. I have self low esteem, so I, I don't have a place where I can talk back. When somebody talk back to, or when somebody abuse me, I just keep quiet. So unless I see somebody that will fight for me in school, I always have two nice friends that they will stand the ground for me anytime. But and it affects me because it's not only sexually abused. I was physically abused by my father, and emotionally abused as well. And that affects between me and my siblings, because my siblings think that, oh my, I have a dumb head. So everything I say to, and even I don't have a voice at home. That's just the bottom line. I don't have a voice. So, and then I just felt that, okay, later on I start having boyfriend. I was sleeping with any guy that I can sleep with,
Okay, so sorry,
towards
Delight, I want to stop you right there. So I just want to touch on you've spoken a lot just in the last few minutes. So as a result of the sexual abuse, and as you said, physical abuse and emotional abuse, you are not respected in the house.
Mhm. Yeah, I wasn't.
So this affected your self-esteem, that you didn't
Yeah,
have a voice because you didn't have a voice to speak for yourself at home. It's even outside. You still couldn't get your voice to defend yourself because all those different abuses had impacted your self-esteem and your confidence.
yeah, yeah,
Because it's
yes,
important
yeah,
that we kind of highlight this because sometimes people don't understand where other people are coming from. And delightful, that's one of the reasons why I actually wanted to talk to you. People are very quick to condemn other people, to judge other people, without understanding that what most children do is as a result of what has been done to them. Because anybody who looked at you at that time would think, oh, what's wrong with this child? But they wouldn't know that you were at that time going through traumatic experiences in your own home. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
important that we highlight that for parents to be observant, for parents to know that what you do to your child impacts the self-esteem of the child. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, comparing one child to the other, talking down on your child, it reduces their self-confidence and their self-esteem and can lead to them making wrong choices. Did I put that right, Delightful?
yes. Absolutely. That's just how it was. That's how it was. Yeah, and it really affects me so much that I thought I can't do anything by myself. That people have to make a decision for me.
Mm,
Even when even at my adult, even when I was adult, I still feel that way.
mm. I'm so sorry. Now, again, I want to talk to our viewers. Delightful is not showing her face because she would rather not for obvious reasons. Um, I just want to touch on a point. When I read the book, one of the perpetrators I know, and if anybody told me that that individual is capable of doing what he did to you, I wouldn't have believed it because he looked like a very docile person. So this is just to let parents know that you really can't trust anybody. Delightful, can you trust anybody with your child?
No, I can't. Even with my mom, I can't. Even when I can't trust anybody with my child. I won't. Even when he's a boy, I won't trust anybody.
Delightful, over the years, and even maybe more so in the recent years, we've had a lot of stories, some not proven in court, some proven in court, where clergy or people in position of authority in the church sexually abuse the members of the church or children in the church, I'd like you to share the experience you had with a pastor as an adult.
Um, it- um, with the pastor, I felt when I spoke to my pastor about it,
No,
and his
the
wife.
experience you had, not speaking to your pastor, but the, oh, sorry, I used the wrong word. The experience you had with a prophet.
Okay, the prophet, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one prophet that the two of them I remember. Yeah, there's one that my mommy said I should go and stay in the church. Every night he would wake me up. He would tell me to strip myself naked.
Ooh.
He would take me outside, and he'll be wearing whatever he's wearing. And all I know that he always hold on to his pennies or whatever. And then he will use a cane to. It will be as his caning me. Will just be looking at. It will be looking at my bottom and everything. Will be looking and beating. And after that,
So it was okay. Just I need to, let's make this because this will sound really strange to many people. So your mom would ask you to go to this church because you
yeah,
needed prayers,
yeah.
and was he a pastor? Was he a prophet?
He said to my mom. I mean, at the time before I became a born again, that he was a prophet.
Okay, so this
So
prophet would ask you to
he wake
strip
me up
yourself.
and he will wake me up in the night,
He
and
wake
then
you up in the night.
he would
Okay.
tell
Were there other
and would
people in
tell
the
me
church?
it was only me and him.
It was just you and him. Oh.
Yeah,
So he would take you outside the sanctuary
yeah.
and ask you to put off your clothes.
And tell me to strip off my clothes. Yeah, I will do that.
Then he would start
Then
beating you with cane.
he will start beating with cane.
What was the cane for?
I don't know. He just said it's part of his prayer.
So he was kind of doing deliverance for you by caning you.
Yes.
Okay, but did he ever lay his hands on you apart from the cane?
No. No, he didn't.
He just beat you naked,
Yeah, beat me
look at
naked.
you,
Yeah.
and tell you to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Delightful. I'm
And
sorry.
then I remember this. Then after that, he will pour cold water on me, and my at that time all my skin is red, and with it's so red that he will pour the water, and I'll be crying because it stings because of the cane.
Oh my goodness. Whew. What about the second experience?
The second experience is when I think it was a year. I think I was over 18 at the time, or between 18 or 18 and yeah, between 18 and 19 or something like that. My mom told me to go to this. Is my mom's uncle, some strange relative to her. Anyway, she told me to go to him, and every time I just go
And
to
was he a
him.
prophet as well?
He was a prophet. He said a
Okay.
prophet that he prophesied and all that. That he will pray. He will use the Bible to pray. But this was a certain day. He told me to. My mom told me that they call him Baba Orioke, something like
Okay.
that. That I should go and that he's expecting me. That I should go to him. I said okay. So and I got to his house and I sat down in his living room and he told me that that we're not going to do the prayer here today. That is, he gave me the address. So I was thinking that okay, maybe it's going to a mountain or something. So when I now look at the address and I saw it was a motel, I thought maybe there's. All I was thinking that maybe it has a lot of people
It
that
was
will be praying for
it
that day.
was okay. So he gave you. So you were in this regular prayer place. So he said he was
Yeah,
going to conduct special prayers for you, but in a
yeah,
different place
different about location.
location. So he
So
gave you an address,
yeah, the address was a motel.
and it was a
So and I
motel. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I went to that motel, and getting there, sat down. I spoke to the reception that so person gave me this address, told me to come and meet him here, and
Mm-hmm.
said no problem. I should sit down and wait. So and I sat down, wait, and next thing, about 30, 40 minutes, and the man show up, the prophet show up, and he said to me, he collect the key and told me to follow him.
So
So I
just
followed.
stop right there. Just stop right there. Delightful. So you got there. You told the receptionist who sent you there,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
you were told to sit down. So
Yes.
he came, collected the key. So it was like
Yeah.
that was an established process. That means this prophet was doing this regularly. I would think,
I
because
guess so, because
yeah, you didn't have to. It was already understood when you got there what was
yeah.
supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so he came, he
Yeah.
collected the key, and told you to follow him.
Yeah. So, and I followed him to do, and he said, went, and then he opened the room, and I sat down on the chair. And he said to me, "Oh, the reason why we cannot do in this house, that there will be a lot of interruptions,
Okay.
and this is a very, very important prayer that he has to do for me." So, and then the next thing he told me to take off my clothes. I thought that maybe I didn't hear what he said, and he said I should take off my clothes. I said, "I don't understand." He said, "I'm the one doing the prayer. I know what I'm doing. Take off your clothes." Okay, so I did. So, and I left my underwear on, and he said, and I laid down on the bed. He said, because always when I take off my clothes, I should lay down on the bed. And he went to the toilet or something. So I laid down, and he came and said to me, "What am I doing?" I said, "I don't understand." He said, "He wants me naked." So I was a bit
You are
reluctant. I was
hesitant.
feeling, yeah, I was hesitant. I was embarrassed because I'm going to be naked. I'm like, okay. So I did what he told me to do. I lay down there. So I noticed, and he told me to close my eyes. So, and I did close my eyes. So next thing, I just felt his body on top of me. And he said to me, and I opened my eyes. I was, I was shocked. I said, "I don't understand." He said to me, "Oh, he just want to breathe on me."
Hmm.
And 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 I said, I don't understand. The next thing he wanted was, I just felt that he wanted to penetrate into me, and I just pushed him up, and I grabbed my clothes, and and he told me, then then he started to push me in the wall, oh, I don't know where I got the strength from. I didn't even care that I was naked outside. I just took my stuff and went outside and dressed myself, and I left. And before that, when I was going, he said to me, if I tell my parents that it's not that he will turn me into an animal, then he will make my parents mad and he kill both of them.
Hmm. So you didn't tell your parents,
I didn't tell my parents,
and
and
you've
I was
never.
so upset. I never spoke to my mom. I didn't say anything, and that day I just walked from the place to my friend's house, because and I got to my friend's, I couldn't tell my friend what happened. Or I was just crying on my way to my friend's house.
Oh. The last one again. I'm so sorry you went through this. But what would you? Okay, I want to take you back to when this prophet, just to help younger people, when he said to you, "Meet me." Okay, gave you an address. You didn't know where you were going, but you got there was a motel. What did you think?
I thought maybe there's a lot of us coming there, and
Okay,
I didn't. And then when he said he wanted to pray, it's even when we got there, when he opened, I opened the door. That was why I sat on the chair. I thought that, okay, I'm going to kneel down,
so you
or
believed him that he was
I
just going to have a
believe.
prayer session.
Exactly, I believe. I never believed that he was going to do that. I don't even look at him that way at all. I was shocked and embarrassed that, I can still see his, as I'm even talking, I still see his image. So I can't, for me, I can't, till now, I was still shocked that that kind of person did that to me.
So for many people who keep saying they're trying to pull the man of God or the prophet down, whatever. This is a true story we're talking about. This is the victim that it happened to, and she's never spoken to it about anybody. She's talking to us today for the very first time, discussing what she's been through in the hands of house help, relatives, and clergy. Delightful. I still want to talk to you about all those years. Where do you think you got the strength from to to wake up every day and keep going in spite of all these things happening to you? And so much so
When I
that
left,
nobody even suspected. There was no day your mom looked at you and thought, "Oh, my daughter, are you okay?" They didn't even suspect that anything was going wrong.
yeah, even the let me go back to the first time, because I told you the guy tried to force his penis on me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a sore on my bottom, and there were times I would walk funny. Sometimes I would go to school because my pants would be staining of blood, and sometimes I even for me to have a bath is a problem because my bottom is always sore because it will come previous night and do whatever I need to do. And I remember there's one time that it was so sore. I went to the hospital. I thought that maybe the doctor will see something. So the doctor said maybe I have thrush or something,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they said at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I was so disappointed in my mom because my mom is a surgical person. She's a nurse. She's a medical. But I thought that she would see that something, that something's going on with me. But she never said that. And
So,
another thing is that because I was when I was young, I used to be very sick. But I thought that because the time they rushed me to the hospital that day, that when I told that I have a sore on my bottom, I thought that the doctor would pick that up. But they didn't see the bruise. I don't understand why they didn't see the bruise because the bruise was there.
okay. So all these years, all these experiences, your mom, your dad, your brothers, nobody had any clue.
Nobody know anything.
So you bore
Although,
this pain all by yourself.
yeah, I did, and that was why when I left Nigeria, it seems I just shut it down. Because I shut it off. I say if I just throw it, like you say, I say if you throw something away. I didn't want to deal with that at all. I didn't want to go back to that place because it was a horrible experience for me.
But even though you shut the door, all this happened in Nigeria. It still had an impact in your life even after you left the country, right?
Yeah, even yes, because by the time, because of my exposure to early sexual, I was very s- um, sexual active or sex active, whatever we call it,
So
and I was
yeah.
promiscuous. Yeah, so I
Okay.
was like
Oh,
having
mhm.
relationship. Yeah,
And
so I
that
was
is
very,
really is a consequence of when people are violated as children.
yeah, and even
One of
though
the
it's not that,
consequences is that they become promiscuous.
yeah, promiscuous, but the point is that even though I was promiscuous, I never enjoyed sex because I will always have fear because the guys the reflection of every sex
What comes
is
comes to
pain.
your
It will
mind.
pain like it's a pain or it's a soul. So I never actually like maybe I enjoy it, and I prefer when I'm even dating a guy that does not even talk about sex. So
Okay.
that one it will be okay for me. But moment they are before, and then I start using that as a defense for myself, so that no guy will, because sometimes I thought, because I always see that if they're going to raise their hand or beat me, so I will use myself to defend myself. Oh, is that what you want? I'll give it to
Okay.
them. But it's not that I'm enjoying it, but it's just for,
Okay.
don't beat me, don't physically abuse me. I'll be getting a beating from my father all the time, so I don't want a man now to beat me. So I'll
Okay.
easily give myself
Okay.
to them. Yeah, and then many abortion came out of it as well, which I
Okay.
did not. Yeah,
Delightful. Sometimes I know that God is doing a great work in you, but many people do not understand the effect that this kind of abuses have on women, and I'm sure men as well. And sometimes people are quick to dismiss and say, "Oh, it happened a long time ago. Why are they still talking about it?" So I want you to explain to us: is this something that just goes away like that? When you've been
That's what people.
violated repeatedly, is this something that you can just put behind you and just go as if nothing happened?
No, it can't be, because you always reflect. There's image, as God is helping me. There's image that in all those guys, they always have image, because they force me. It's not my will. They want to do it, and sometimes you see people can understand that how pain, because they force themselves, so the pain is still in my head. So sometimes it because as if there is a right, as people don't understand that it takes it takes part of you. It takes it takes your emotion, your, as if as if when they forcefully do anything,
It's like
they
taking
rip,
something away from you.
yeah, from
They're
you,
taking
yeah,
something away from you.
they
So,
rip, they rip, I mean, they sometimes it's because of the pain. So yeah, and sometimes when they do it, they make you look like you're the one that caused it for them to happen to you.
so you're
Because
going around after being abused sexually, after being violated, after being taken against your will. So you're going around feeling guilty because they make you feel that it's your fault. You're
yes, it
afraid
make
to tell
me, yeah,
anyone to share what you have
yeah,
been through because you think people will blame you.
yes.
And you are carrying this pain. It's affecting your life. It's affecting your thoughts. It's affecting your relationships. So how do you get out of that dark tunnel?
The when I first when I came to England, for like going about like almost like 9 years ago now, or something, or 10 years ago, really. When I first spoke to my pastor, it was a relief for me, for me to bring it out. Although I didn't tell him everything, I just scanned and told him, because some of the things that I put in the book, he didn't know about it. But it was a relief for me. For me, I think the first day, I know. Let me come back again. It's when I actually went I went to see my GP. I told her that I couldn't sleep. So I don't know when we were talking. She now talked to me about relationship, and I said, I'm not dating anybody. And she said to me, "You're not dating anybody." And then he asked me about sex, and the way I reacted. Then next thing she told me, she just asked me, "Have you been abused?" And I said, yes. That was the first time ever. And she told me that if I want to talk about it, and I said no. And I just cut the conversation, and I stood up. I said, no, I don't feel comfortable. And I left. So she was the first person I opened up to, and
And then your
and
pastor.
then I travel to America, and my cousin, I think we were looking at something. So, and a child was abused, and they were watching a film, and the girl was crying. Then I didn't know. I didn't know how I started crying. Then she didn't say anything. So she now came back to meet me in the room, that what is going on. And then I told her a bit, and I said, look, I don't want to talk about it. And this conversation was not had. So until then, I spoke to my pastor. That was where my healing started to come. So yeah, I would say I'm much better, because before I couldn't talk about it. It affects my relationship with men. I hate men. I don't want to. I just use them like every guy that I was dating, apart from maybe two or four or three people of them, or three guys. I wanted to take revenge on every guy. That yeah,
Okay. So,
but
thank you very much for speaking to me this afternoon. Delightful. I just want us to highlight the lessons that parents and young people and children can take away from our conversation this afternoon. For if you had to mentor a child, what would you say to the child to keep the child from experiencing this kind of abuse? what would you say to the child?
I will make
Or
sure
how
my
would you
relationship.
bring up a child, yeah, to avoid this happening?
Yeah, I will always what I will be to do. My first thing to be observant, because I will see how the child is relating to me.
Okay.
My relationship with that child will be so um, very, very friendly, or so that a child can trust me,
Okay.
because I actually build my trust with the child, so that I will not be strict with the child, so that the child can relate to me with anything.
Okay.
And that's why I don't. I always tell parents, especially that's why I didn't find with my mom, because if I have that relationship with my mom, the first time the ass boy touched me, I'll have spoken to her.
Okay.
So it won't have been where the guy came back in the room. I will ask, "Oh, mommy, by the way, did you?" I will say, "Oh, mommy," I will have said, "Oh, mommy, did you tell the guy to come and bathe me?" So I will have mentioned it to her, but because I don't have that relationship, so it's so important for me. If I'm bringing up a child, or if I'm mentoring a child, I want that child to be comfortable with me. I want that child to relate to me. I want that child to trust me, and I'll be observant to that. So I will know, because when a child is talking to me, I know when a child is that's
Mm,
maybe it's a gift. Maybe it's a gift for me. When a child is talking to me, I know when a child is happy, and when a child is not, there's something going on. I
mm.
only see that.
I think it's a result of what you've been through. So, delightful. Just to recap. So, what you're saying to parents, mothers especially, and fathers as well, have close relationship with your children
Yeah.
so that they can tell you everything they're going through. Be observant. So if anything is out of place, so you can investigate.
Yes.
Don't be overly strict with your child. Don't
Yeah.
let your child be afraid of you. If your child is afraid,
Exactly.
the child will not talk to you because the child will be afraid of your anger. Now, if you're an adult like you were when it happened with the prophet in court, if this, knowing what you know today, when you got to that motel or when you got to that room, what would you do differently?
I won't even go to the hotel in the first place, because I will ask him that, what are we going to the hotel for?
Very good.
For I will first of all say, this is not a church, so why are we going to motel? And I will, I will question that. Even when I get to I might not know the address, and when I go there, I saw a motel. I will wait for him in reception, and I will make sure I ask him, why are we going to the motel? And who is going to be there? If not, I'll call people to come. And I don't mind, I say, can I bring my friend in? Can I bring somebody else to stay for you to do the prayer? But I won't, at this age of mine, or if I has a child saying to me, or a young adult or a teenager said, "Oh, a pastor said you should meet in a hotel," I'll question that pastor. I will investigate. Why is the pastor taking or taking a woman, or taking somebody to hotel? That's not a sanctuary. That's not a church. So why are you taking to the hotel?
Okay.
So yeah.
So our message to the young adults, to our children, is that if whoever asks you
Yeah.
to do something that is suspicious, you should raise your voice and ask questions
Yes.
and talk to an adult. So, in closing, what would you say to somebody who's already been abused and they're carrying this shame by themselves? They feel that they're going to be stigmatized if they spoke about it. They feel like it's their fault that they allowed it to happen. What would you say to that person to encourage the person to come out of that dark place?
If somebody's been abused, first of all, I'll tell that person it's not your fault. And I want the person to look into the heart to themselves, that they're beautiful, because that's what the abuser, the predators, that they take away. They take our beauty. They take us, like they make sure they. So the person should look back into themselves, that they're a beautiful person. And number then not, what I would tell that person to do, another thing is to go for counseling. It's so
Mhm.
important that they go to, because you can't get healed by yourself. Maybe you're Christian or not Christian. go for your healing. Healing is very important. It's good to go for therapists so that you can then make sure you if you can't talk about it, write it down. Because the writing down, although it came a book for me, the writing down really helps me, because the things I wrote down, when I would start reading it, I didn't know, and I've been carrying all that in my head for many years. So it's so important that we should talk about it. And the point, don't feel ashamed. You are not the one to be shamed. You are not the one that had the problem. It's the person that the person that is not. You are not. You are the victim. The abuser is the one that's problem.
Awesome.
So I will tell that person then, like I said, go for counseling. You are not. Don't let anybody stigmatize you, because that is so important. Because especially we that come from Africa, because it's easily to people to it's a stigma, it's a taboo. But now you don't have to be quiet. And once that abuse has started, talk about it. No, if you can't, look for somebody that you have you can confide on. Tell that person. Nobody is supposed to go through that, and don't wish it to anybody again.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure speaking with you. Again, I'm going to recap. We did this session for parents and for children as well. So as we said, if you found yourself if you ever find yourself in this position, or it's already happened to you, talk to somebody that you trust. If you are a Christian, you are in a church, there has to be somebody in the church you can talk to. Talking will help you. Put it down. Seek professional counseling. There is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have to bear the shame by yourself. It's not your fault. It wasn't something that you did. It was something that was done to you. There is healing. Again, Delightful, thank you for speaking with me, and I'll be in touch with you. Take care and keep getting better. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
It's a delight. Thank you. Bye.